All right. Let's see how far the rabbit hole goes. Welcome to day 9, the penultimate day in our annual gathering. When I first left Toronto, when I became a disappeared person, and I ended up on this little island in the Mediterranean, there were all these people running around trying to become enlightened. It was really something for me to see. I mean, I didn't know anything about stuff like that. I certainly had no esoteric, mystical, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't in my nature. And there were all these people running around talking about something called enlightenment, and something that they were desperately interested in. I mean, desperately interested in. Some kind of perennial altered state of consciousness. They thought they had their examples of what they would refer to as enlightened beings, all that stuff. And I was born a skeptic. I'm still skeptical, which is really funny because, I'm the last person on earth who should be skeptical about weird stuff, right? But this term and this assumption, the assumptions associated with it, were something that really bothered me. See, I don't like specialness. Funny thing, eh? I don't like this concept that, there's only certain beings that can be special at something, or whatever the case may be. That somehow you've got this vast gene pool made up of basically inert material, and there's this one little bloop that sort of goes, hi. My wireless network is not connected. That's just a joke. Anyway, when I finally came to grips with what had happened to me and was able to take a look at the mechanics and begin to explore it, one of the things that I recognized was that this fantasy, which was really a 7-centered trip, was something that was ordinary. It was intended to be ordinary. I mean, it's the thing that I find so astonishing about what human design really says. Is that human design really says that if we are actually ordinary, in other words, the way we're supposed to be, that all of these, exalted concepts and stuff, this is not something that we have to go look for, search for, do mantras, All we have to do is live out the essence of what we are and to live out our differentiation. And it is really the whole subject of, what is so important about anyone who is ready to take this process and to take it to its radical conclusion. The radical conclusion is that you leave behind homogenized intelligence. Because homogenized intelligence is dense. It is the warp and woof of the way in which we look at the world. And homogenized intelligence is about what the 7-centered being has always been about. Create a pyramid, and then beneath that pyramid have all of those forces, that lie down and bow to whatever that is. Human design is about uniqueness. And more than that, it is about understanding that we are here to fulfill a cognitive purpose. The purpose in our life is not physical. It's a great joke. I mean, the purpose in our life is about what is possible for us in terms of the way in which awareness can work in us. I talked about this yesterday. How it is essential to understand that the 9-centered being is here for communion. But that communion has to be rooted in something. The only time I ever liked this word enlightened, and I do, is when it's been used deeply in sarcasm. You're talking to somebody and you insist on something,
and you tell them that they do not understand, and they say to you, enlighten me. Right? Enlighten me. Well, this is really what we're all about. We're here to enlighten each other. It's not this selfish shit, I'm enlightened. You know? Look at the glow. It's not about I'm enlightened, it's about I can enlighten you. That's my outer authority. And you can enlighten me. And you see how dark I am. You haven't been doing a good job. Not really. Think about it. I mean, this whole concept that I'm enlightened, you know, it's in bad taste, no? Isn't it? I mean, you wouldn't want to go around and have to say that to people, right? You know, you meet somebody on the subway and they say, who are you? I'm enlightened, you know? You don't want to do that. But it's great to have that experience where somebody can enlighten you. That's what's beautiful. That's what we're about. I mean, that's really the essence of what we're about. And each and every one of us have a unique path in which we're here to develop skills to be able to enlighten the other. It's not about us becoming enlightened. As a matter of fact, we're here to be beyond all that. I mean, beyond all that. I mean, the fact that I can enlighten you has nothing to do with anything other than that happens to be the program of this thing that I'm witnessing. I mean, we are passengers after all. And to be passengers in a vehicle that's really correct is a vehicle that's busy enlightening others. That's the magic. You all know that here, these moments where, you know, any one of the people that are expressing their outer authority in human design, there's these moments where they say something, it's really enlightening. It does shed light on things. It opens them up. It gives you a unique perspective. This is what we're here for. Instead of bullshitting each other, lying to each other, misinforming each other, trying to impress each other, all that pseudo-intellectual, spiritual crap. We're here to enlighten the other. If you want to have any mark on you in terms of, who you are, it can only be measured by who you enlighten. Because that's really what it's all about. This is what it is to be a nine-centered being. To be a nine-centered being is to have a purpose to enlighten others. And that's mechanical. It's not like it's a big deal. It's what we're supposed to be doing. And the fact that that is a potential for us is because each and every one of us in our uniqueness have a specialty. Have that specific way in which we are designed to take in the experience of being and translate it for the other. Something that nobody else can know. And if we're not enlightened by that, think about it. Each and every one of you, there is this potential in you to enlighten the other if you don't. The darkness remains. And it doesn't matter what you know. It's the first thing I understood when I was sitting under the olive tree the day after my experience with the voice. So what that I had it? I thought about never saying a word, Don't tell them, it's going to be a trip, But we're not here alone. This is not what we're about. And the first moment that I felt the real power of what had happened to me was the moment that I enlightened somebody about their design, even at the most primitive level at that time. Because that's what it's about. You see, all of us have these incredible gifts. We do. It's built into us. And it's not something you got to look for, and it's not something you got to work at. It's there. It's there if you live out what is correct for you. Now, these two lectures, yesterday and today, are linked to each other because they're linked to each other through the nodes of the moon. We have this relationship between the design nodes that represent environment, and on the other side, we have the personality nodes, and the personality nodes represent perspective. And those nodes on either side are linked to each other. This is the continuity of your life. This is where your life story unfolds. We see that if we are nurtured correctly by our environment, that our environment allows us to have a foundation for our unique perspective. We're all here to see differently. That's the magic. What an ugly world where we're all made to see the same things and agree with it. Because we don't. We don't. It's just homogenization. We are all here to see differently. That's our beauty. And yes, there are similarities, because when you look at the charting, and I'll put it up, you get to see that, like all of these mechanical divisions that are there in the structure, that there are formulas that are at work, that there are these 6 fundamental ways in which we look out at the world, and that we get to see that there are subdivisions in the way they work. That way of looking out in the world that's left, that way of looking out in the world that's right, that is that difference between being focused and being peripheral. And yet when you begin to add all of the different elements together in your variable, you begin to see that one on top of the other, as you layer them, you begin to get the roadmap to your unique potential as an aware being. But there's something incredibly fantastic about view. It's the most exciting thing that happened to me in my journey of elaborating in rave psychology. See, I've always understood deeply that the moment that you truly grasp a mechanic, you are going to find tools and techniques in that can be of service. And what was so obvious to me, the moment that I tried to deal with changing the way in which students looked at the nature of the personality, was that by seeing the mechanics and grasping them, I understood something. I could get people to see easily, in a way, their passenger consciousness, to meet it. Until you meet that passenger consciousness, in a sense, you can never really get it. And it's not like it's a difficult thing to do. It isn't. But it takes a certain amount of intellectual grasp. It's the big difference between the body, the design, and the personality. And you can see this in the way in which color works. Because when you look on the design side with color, if you're following your strategy and authority, your colors lock in. They lock in. It's very easy to lock your body into its differentiated path. And of course, that's enormously beneficial for us because everything is dependent on this physical platform. But when you're dealing with the personality, color is totally different. Color is like Tiger Woods. That's my Tiger Woods joke for the day. I figure I take advantage of that, right? That's what color is like. It's always transferring. It never stays in one place. It's moving. And to really understand this about the nature of the personality is to grasp something. That yes, I can theoretically tell you that your perspective is going to move from this to this, and it's going to be doing it all the time, but that's not the point. That's interesting, but it's not the point. Because the point is that the moment that you get to actually experience it yourself, there is this wonderful question. Who noticed? I mean, look, everybody has a specific way that they're designed to look at the world. Let's take an example here. And let's take the example of somebody who is going to be second color. Their personality nodes are going to be second color. They're here to see possibility. Now remember that the possibilities that they're here to see are based on them being in the correct environment. In the correct environment, they get aligned to what is their correct perspective. Their view of possibility is that they can look at anything and see possibility. That's what they're here for. Yet at the same time, color, which is so magical, color transfers. And the way it transfers is that it transfers through harmonics. So the 2 is going to transfer to the 5, the 1 to the 4, and the 3 to the 6. Harmonic transference. So think about that. You've got a person and they're here to see possibility. But transference takes place. And the moment that transference takes place, instead of seeing possibility, now they're seeing probability. Now, probability is another story. And it is not the same as possibility. Now, a possibility person can see possibility in just about anything, which can be of great value, by the way. They can see the possibilities. But it doesn't mean that any one of those possibilities necessarily can turn into what the possibility indicates. As a matter of fact, it's the second color perspective that has given us the vastness of our fiction and our vision and all of this stuff. All of these possibilities, little green men with stuff and, all the possibilities. But when you transfer to probability, you take that possibility and you turn it into something else. This is like, the possibility is I could always win at the racetrack. It's a possibility, no? But it's not a probability. But when you see it as a probability and you go there, chances are you're going to lose all your money. Possibility can say, sure, there's a God. Why not? It's possible, no? Probability says, I don't really know about that. Probable? It's different. So think about this person. This person is always moving from possibility to probability and back again. So imagine what happens to them in the moment that they notice it. There they are watching their own process. There they are watching their mind, because what your mind is going to do is it's going to take your perspective, and that's what it works with. That's what your personality conceptually is going to work with, is what you're taking in and what you're looking at and the way you're looking at it, because it's the frame. Now remember, I'm on the outside here. You've got to see what the gates are, what the lines are. There's a lot of information that hones you in on what your perspective is really about. But imagine this person. Their mind is working on something and it's working on it as a possibility, and all of a sudden they're jumping to probability. And in the moment that they notice that, who's noticing? That's the most incredible thing to grasp. See, I've been doing this forever. I watch my mind transfer. Does it all the time. This is what it does. My perspective, is personal, 6 color. Basically, I'm here to see everything through my own particularly selfish framework. That's the way I integrate everything. It's the way I see. But then I transfer. And the moment I transfer, and I transfer to the 3rd color, is the moment that I'm looking out there and seeing who's winning and who's losing, and suddenly I'm concerned about what's going on out there. And it's so obvious to me in those moments where I have this shift take place in the way I'm looking at things. But you see, I'm watching my personality be personality, my passenger, who this thing really is all here to support. Personality is just something that's part of the whole mechanism. You think of your personality as being some kind of wonderful, unique, terrific thing that's you, but it isn't. You are that dark matter personality crystal. You are an alien in a warm meat package. Never forget that. Truly, never forget that, because the meat package dies, I know. And we're not here to try to figure out how to run one of these things, because we're not here to run them. We're not here to be trapped in them. We're not here to be trapped in the consequences of them. None of that. I mean, that's the beauty of the knowledge. When the knowledge was given, it said, look, there's a roadmap to let go of being stuck in the deep density of the material plane. You can get out of that. You can get out of that by giving the consciousness that runs your vehicle the authority that it needs to take care of your material life, to liberate you. Again, our purpose is communion. Now, one of the things that's interesting about transference is that the idea is not to eliminate the transference, because you can't. There's no way you're going to do that. It's the same thing with motivation at the mental level, the conceptual level, the personality, sun, earth. Motivation transfers all the time. It's not about getting rid of the transference. As a matter of fact, we need it. It's one of the most beautiful things about us. I mean, if I was only into my 6-color perspective, I really would not know a lot about what's going on out there, nor would I process it. Because I would only be in my own trip. Only. And the fact that my perspective transfers so that I pay attention to what's going on out here, oh my goodness, look at that. You see it. It's a nice balance for me to have that as a counterpoint. The way to look at transference is that what's natural for you has to be dominant. By the way, those of you online can't see my hands in the air. One higher than the other, like a seesaw. Because it's really what it's about. What is your main theme? This is a person that's here most of the time to see things as possibilities. But if you only saw possibility, at some point you'd get quite depressed. No, it's true. I mean, there's all this possibility and nothing's happening, and it's like, oh my God. I mean, there's these people, this is what they say all the time. You do need to be able to see that there are some probabilities. And it's also nice to see that some of those possibilities may become probabilities. It's balance. But it's a balance that is imbalanced. And to watch them go back and forth is your gateway. It's your gateway to being the passenger. Everything about this process is about being able to watch your personality in the same way you watch your body. We tend to separate them. See, for me, all of this is form principle. The personality is form principle. For me, it's all the same thing. I mean, in the end, it's all form. Eh? These are just mechanical things. It's not like the personality is some kind of, it's a construct. It's mechanical. And the moment that you get stuck in that, you really don't get it. Because you're not going to be able to see what you're truly here to see. You won't. You're here to watch your personality. You're here to be an audience of your performance in this life. This is the magic. It's being behind the veil. It's really literally seeing, I watch my personality construct all this, and I can go back and detail it in a chart. In the same way that I can detail the fact that you got an undefined spleen and it means this or that or whatever. It's mechanical. We are so deeply, deeply, deeply identified with our personalities. I mean, deeply identified with them. It's mine. It's not. It's a tool. I mean, this is the instrument that you have that's capable of enlightening the other. This is the tool. And you see, the most interesting thing for me about the incarnation of personality crystals is that ultimately they're here to enlighten each other. I mean, that's what we're here for. I mean, when you think about it that way, it's really quite beautiful. We're here to enlighten each other. That's magic. You know, and it's not fuzzy spirituality. It's just mechanical. And you see, you can't get to this differentiated state if you're absorbed in your personality. You know, trying to control it and work with it and, you know, all of this stuff. Doesn't work. You know, you have to treat the personality exactly the same way that you treat everything else in design. It's just a mechanism. I mean, stop being so identified with your mind. It's the machine's mind. It's not yours. It's the machine's. It's the mechanism. You know, it's the gas that comes out of the ass of the brain. It's a mechanism. And you see, we're not here to get caught in that. You missed the whole movie. I love watching the raw personality do its thing. I mean, it's fun. If I were to get involved in that, it would not be fun anymore. You know? It just wouldn't. Because then you start thinking about what you think you should think about. And what you think you should think about turns into what you think you should do because you thought it. And you get into all that craziness. Oh, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in watching the full performance and not interfering. See, we think the personality is the Holy Grail. We think this enlightenment business is the Holy Grail. It isn't. It's in the warranty of the machine we were given. It says, this machine can enlighten. You know? If. Just if. You know, if you follow all the instructions, you take care of it. Because that's basically what it is. I mean, we take all this so serious, you know. And we take it seriously because we think we have a responsibility. Particularly people who are spiritual. I mean, they're heavy people, right? Serious business. Well, it's only serious if you're identified with that personality. It's an incredible joke the moment you're not. Because it's not like you can do anything about it. It's going to be what it's going to be. See, we're here to be able to take in the full experience. When you are able to watch the personality function, this is the moment where you get the enlightenment buzz, you know. What I prefer to just call awareness. How magical it is to be aware. Most people think of awareness as an external thing in the sense that you as a being outside of this shell, beyond the aura, you're aware of, you know. This is the awareness that goes to the depths. It stands behind the whole process. It is aligned to, in fact, what we are. You know, we're crystals of consciousness embedded in complex vehicles. And our process here is all about experiencing that fully. See, the moment that we're sitting back experiencing fully, the vehicle is doing its job, guaranteed. That's the moment when you realize that you don't have an incarnation cross, you are it. A very different thing. You know, I was not a Clarion till I became a Clarion, eh? All these things that are there that are embedded in the information, all of this happens if you allow it to happen. You know, it's one of those things at the very beginning of my process that I also encountered a great deal of, this word, surrender, which I always thought was what Indians did to cowboys. You know, this kind of thing. You know, surrender, okay, I give up. I never did that. Surrender. I love that. Why put your hands up in the air? Isn't that a wonderful gesture? Is this the display of armpits? What is this? You know, this, I surrender. I don't know. Anyway, Saturday sense of humor, I guess. If you follow your strategy and authority, you're already a surrendered being. Again, it is one of these concepts that people think is so damn exalted. It's not. It's not. It's always about the mind in the end. You see, for somebody to follow their strategy and authority is actually one of the most extraordinary things you can imagine a human being is capable of. And I mean that. I mean, it's the greatest challenge. It is the initial challenge. It is the only thing that is sustaining you as a being. And that strategy and authority, what that really does for you is that it actually creates surrender. The mind, surrendering its authority. It's surrendering. The not-self mind is surrendering its authority. It's really quite amazing. That's surrender. You don't need any other kind of surrender. Truly, you do not. Because you see, the most important thing we give up in this life is we give up relying on our minds to guide us. This is the first step in becoming a nine-centered being. You know, this is the first thing that breaks you from seven-centered homogenization. It's what we are truly all about. You know, we are a species that is here to operate without mental direction. You don't need it. See, this is surrender. You know, I used to tell people in the beginning, no choice. They never understood what I was talking about. That this is a choiceless process. But you see, the moment that the mind cannot make your decisions, you have no choice anymore. You have no choice and you are surrendered. Jesus, you could all open up an ashram. Eh? No choice, surrendered. Here I am. It's normal. I mean, that's my whole point. This is not some kind of fancy thing, you know, this for this spiritual elite, whoever the hell they are. It's the every man, woman, nine-centered trip. To be choiceless and surrendered. And they're real. You don't need any spiritual substitute for that. You're really at the core of what this is all about. And you see, out of that comes the possibility of seeing the way in which your vehicle will align you to your purpose. Whatever it may be, your destiny, your fate, your karma, you know, whatever the geometry is, it will align you to that. Oh yes, as we've discussed, you certainly can help that process along in terms of, you know, that path that you're taking, the dietary regimen, the correct environment, all the things that allow the vehicle to fulfill its purpose. The vehicle's purpose is separate from your mind, after all. It's separate from the way in which your personality works. Your personality, you know, wants to be a deep sea diver, and your body says, look, we got weak ears and we're going to die there, you know? It's your body's purpose that we're here to live out. See, the moment that you're surrendered and choiceless is the moment that your mind has a chance to begin to use its great gift of measurement for the purpose of enlightening others. See, the moment that your mind isn't controlling what you're doing, remember, the mind's very insecure. It's built on fear, the way the not-self mind works. So the not-self mind is always making decisions that are deeply homogenized. Trying to make decisions based on what it thinks is going to work, all that kind of stuff. So the mind's totally involved in all that. The moment that you're choiceless and surrendered, the moment you're following your strategy and authority, that's not what your mind is supposed to be doing. It's not even supposed to be paying that much attention to all that stuff anymore. Because in fact, once your vehicle is correct, your design says, excuse me, you have something to look at. There is a purpose here. The fact that as a nine-centered being you're graced with a way to slide along the material plane does not mean it's a free ride. The beauty of the passenger in the back, looking out the windows, the perfection of what that is. See, we all have this, trajectory, this movement in life. We all not only see different things, we see them from different places. And at the moment that you're environmentally correct, the moment that that whole vehicle is resonating to its process, you're going to get your purpose. You're going to get the fulfillment of what your story is all about. And in this case, the story is, I see possibility. Possibility can be an enormous gift. It truly can enlighten the other. When you look at twos anyway, any level you look at twos, and the genetic continuity, second line, second color, second tone, there is a gift there. There is always a gift there. A gift in a sense for the unexpected, a gift for the possibility of being able to be open to just the right thing, the talent that is potentially there. To see the possibility in things that other people could never see the possibility in. Never see it. This is what you're here for. That ultimately that possibility that you can see relative to your gates and the themes and so forth is what your conceptualizing process gets to work with. Gets to turn that perspective into a concept that becomes your outer authority. I see the possibility, this is how I see it. And that possibility for the other may be the one transforming thing in their life. They say to you, is it possible? And you say yes or no, whatever the case may be. The magic that is there. But it's more than that. It's about understanding that the articulation of possibility opens up the full spectrum of what our planet and our intelligence can deliver. It's quite an incredible thing. It truly is. It's also something to understand that each and every one of us, in the way in which we look out in the world, that we're fundamentally different at a basic binary. That difference between being left, being focused, and being right, being peripheral. Now, I'm 3 parts left and 1 part right in my variable. And where I'm right is right here. So, this is me over here. I'm on the right. What that does for me is that it allows me to see all kinds of things that nobody else sees. I can see things you can't see, and it's not just me. Anybody who has my variable, that is the gift inherent in it. That you can see what other people don't see because you take in the full periphery. All of it. If you're left, you've got this focused way in which you're looking. And there's no better or worse. Please understand that. There is just difference. That being that sees the possibility through one aspect of it. The other that takes in all the possibilities and yet still has to wait for the opportunity to release that as a right being. The left and the right. The perspective, each and every one of us have a unique configuration. All right, let's take a look at it for a moment. you can see that, again, there is this basic division between the lower and the upper. And when you're looking at the lower colors, the first color is survival. Survival. This is somebody who is able to look out at the world and be able to see what works and what doesn't work, what's fertile, what isn't. And all the things that are related as an example to like first line themes of fear and investigation. So each and every one of us have this unique way. I mean, in all honesty, if you took all of us, put us at the side of the road, staged an accident, if we were all correct, we would all give a totally different story of what we saw. And it doesn't mean that any of our stories would conflict with each other. They wouldn't. They would simply be unique angles and perspectives upon which that thing was experienced. And ultimately the way it was expressed as an outer authority. But you can see what happens to beings. They transfer. And the more not self you are, the seesaw changes. Instead of what is correct for you dominating and having the transference as a way that gives you perspective, suddenly it's switched. That the transference is much more dominant and powerful, and what's correct for you is only there as a counterpoint. You begin to get lost. You begin to get caught up in what is not correct for you, and it is not truly what you're here to see, and it distorts the way in which you're going to conceptualize. See, these are things to understand. One of the things that is so... I look out in the world. All these people, so many human beings wonder why it is so, inefficient. Let's put it that way. This planet of ours. But I want you to think about something. I have a third color, Sun Earth. I'm here to be a leader. My transference is to the sixth color, which is about innocence. And it's about not being a leader at all. It's about standing back and just watching the movie, letting things happen. Now think about transference. The vast majority of people who came into the world with a six-color personality, and that is every single 1-4, 2-5, 3-6, 4-1, 5-2, 6-3, every single transitional profile has a six-color personality. Think about that. Every single one of them. And many, some of those who have, normal, if I can put it that way, foundational profiles, there are also those that have a six-color personality. So think about these millions and millions, billions probably, of human beings, at least 1 billion of them, that have a six-color personality. And that six-color personality, the motivation is to be the innocent. Stand back, watch the movie. But they're all in transference, because they're all not self. And they're all homogenized. So the vast majority of human beings on this planet who are motivated to be leaders are all in transference. They can't lead worth a shit. And we all know it. And it's true for all of these things. We live in a distorted world. Truly an upside-down world. We do. And transference is at the source of it. When you begin to really understand your perspective, your motivation, that over time, as you operate correctly, you can begin to see it take its proper balance. Because it will. But for the not-self, that is not the case. It's not. Instead of this person being able to see the possibilities of survival that can be of enormous value, they're looking at what's missing. It's not what they're about. It's a nice counterpoint, to see the want out there, to see what others are really looking for, what others are truly after. But it's not what they're here to master. It's not what their unique outer authority is going to be rooted in. And the deeper they are in transference, the further away they are from being able to enlighten others. Because what they see is not clear. It's not. And of course, because they're not operating correctly, it cannot be conceptualized in a way in which it is delivered as coherent and useful outer authority. See, the greatest challenge of all, the thing that I've seen in human beings who have entered into human design, is that the body stuff is easy. God bless the body, man. Body stuff is easy. I mean, once you get over the hump, strategy and authority, feed it right, put it in the right place. Body's easy. Body is going to just respond and do its thing. It's perfect. It's beautiful. Great machines. But the personality, because we try to separate the personality from the form principle, you can't. When you get over here and you see the mechanics of it, you have to understand it's just another mechanical thing. It isn't anything else. And the only way that you're going to be able to transcend the dilemmas of the personality is to be an observer of it, a witness of it. Because the more you watch, the more you get the joke, the wiser you become. Because we have such beauty to share that's there. This is what we're here for. It's the thing to really grasp about us. It's the thing that makes us special. It's why, despite everything that I see in the world, that I continue to hold out possibility, in that sense, for human beings. Because I see that it doesn't take, some kind of serendipity. That these are mechanical things, that we can approach them. But that when it comes to the personality, it is much, much, much more complex. We're so deeply connected to our personality, so attached to them. It's hard to see them in the same way that we can look at our physical mechanisms. But you need to. You need to see it's all part of the package. We're not the package. We're not. I mean, that's as spiritual as I get, We are not the package. And the moment that you can truly get to that place that you allow the package to demonstrate it to you. I'm 23 years not interfering with Ra Uruhu. Because that's really what it is. I don't interfere. My personality is not involved in correcting me. All that stuff, whatever it is. It's just experiencing what this thing is. I'm not attached to this personality, not attached to the way in which the personality operates. I can't take any credit for what it thinks. It's really nice that it seems to do, interesting things, that it may enlighten you, that it's bright, that it's this. It's not like there's any part of me. I don't think you can ever slap a crystal on the back. Because I think they're too tiny anyway, and I don't think you'd get there. As a matter of fact, I think they're so tiny they go through the spaces between the spaces. I can't take credit for any of that. I can't. I mean, that's the greatest joke of all. Is to get to the point of the only thing that I can say is thank you. I don't even know who I'm saying thank you to, because I'm not really saying thank you to anyone other than to, I guess, my own crystal. It's like, oh, okay, thanks. Because there isn't anything else. There is this vanity that we have, that we're really in the end, that we're really in, they're ours, that we're in charge of these things, that, they do what we want them to do. We don't. And you see, we think our minds are liberated and free. I can think about anything. I can look anyway, all this stuff. It's crap. We're all locked into these formulas. And it isn't to diminish them. I like the Raw movie. It's okay. It's not about diminishing them. It's not about the mystery disappears. It isn't. As a matter of fact, in many ways it goes deeper. This wonder. This magical juxtaposition of the hot atomics and the cold dark matter and the wonder of this juxtaposition and these insane neutrinos. And when you see it all like that, it's sort of like, wow, okay, let's have a ride. This is what we're about. And at the same time, there is this extraordinary thing that is possible for us in the way in which we bond with each other. If everybody in your life enlightened you, wow, you'd be blissed out. I mean, wouldn't it be incredible? Eh? Guy comes to the door, knocks on the door to do repairs, opens the door, instantly enlightens you with some perfect little piece of wisdom for the day. Whatever it may be. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. The pizza guy, it doesn't matter. You see, this is what we're capable of. We assume that, in order to be able to enlighten others, that you have to have some important position on the planet. You have to be an expert. Don't you love that word, by the way? Expert. Pert means fresh. They used to be fresh. Isn't that nice about experts? Don't ever call me an expert, okay? I'm still fresh. Sort of. Compared to my mother, I'm fresh. See, we are so different. See, we're very intelligent creatures. There's no question about that. It's the thing that makes us so unusual is the potential that we have. And then we get given such an unbelievable gift of being able to see all these mechanical things. I mean, this is really the reward at the end of the game, eh? It's really a chance to see the whole historical joke, because that's all it is. It's like all of these beings that want to find some way in which all of this has meaning. I love that. The meaning of life. Eh? Isn't that a great expression? The meaning of life. I sound like George Carlin this morning. Eh? Bless him. The meaning of life. Excuse me. There is no meaning. I mean, if you're looking for one, you might as well make one up. Eh? Because at least that's going to be fun. You can write your own story. The meaning of life by me. Whatever that is. There is no meaning to all of this. It is what it is. It's an evolutionary track racing, at least that's what we call it, racing along. It's sort of mutation on fire forever, because that's basically what it is. And it's all happenstance. I mean, it's not like there is a divine purpose out there. There's just the box you got dropped into. Because the true purpose has nothing to do with what goes on, in the obviousness of the Maya. It's not about that. It's not like we have to, and, It's not like that at all. It's the joke. It's the thing that sets you free. At least it set me free. See, the moment I thought that there was a reason, and I did in the beginning, I assumed, which led to my early nihilism, is there really one, And if there is one, then there's a plan, and if there's a plan, there's this and that. And it's the kind of thing you tell children in order to let them sleep well at night. That everything's okay. That there's this great force that's looking after things.
See, we're here on our own. And we came into an environment that, like us, has been part of this same process. You know, what I call the program. It's all just one vast moving thing. The fact that we have evolved this kind of curiosity is just what it is. But let's not take this too seriously. The crystals that sit in me are billions and billions of years old. This is a flash in a pan. And I don't want to spend one of the few opportunities that I have to get out of my cold, dead space into one of these nice, hot machines and screw it up by being insane, which most of the planet does, because they're fabulous. It's all about us accepting the choicelessness, accepting surrender, in order to really be of service. I mean, the collective consciousness, whatever these crystals may be, they store information. I mean, this is all about the consciousness field. It isn't about the way it looks to us. After all, this is just the shimmer of all this stuff. See, we're so advanced and we're so stupid all at the same time. And we're on the cusp. I mean, we're on the edge. This is our greatest opportunity ever to be really able to let go and to see what this ride is really all about. All of these things that we have, the roles that we have, and our cross, and our this, and our that, and all of this stuff, they're perfect mechanisms for the release of awareness. You know, this is our whole point, is to get to this place where we enlighten the other. This is what it's about. And the moment we're in this place where we are enlightening the other, this is our movie. That's why everybody has a cross. It's why you have a profile. It's why you do have a specific perspective, a specific way in which you're motivated to conceptualize, is that you're designed to deliver enlightenment to the other. You're designed for it, which means that we're all at a loss if we don't get it. We got a dark, dark, dark planet because we don't have these forces. We just have people who try to pretend they're in the light by regurgitating the same old stuff. Somebody's outer authority. Live your own. Be your own. You know, this is what we're here for. So one of the most important things that you can do in your process is meet your passenger. Truly, meet your passenger. You know, lots of people have done it now. It's not difficult. It's not some kind of big deal. It's just about understanding your themes of transference, both visually and in terms of the way your conceptualizing works. You know, and once you begin to notice that, is really when you're beginning to break this horrendous dependency on being locked into your personality to protect yourself. You begin to get some distance. And you begin to see, in a way that you've never before, the fullness of who you are. You know, when you're locked in your personality, you never see who you really are. You're dependent on others to tell you, I'm a 5-1. I know that I can never trust any of you to tell me who I am, because it's only a projection. So the only thing that I have is being able to see myself. And from the position of my passenger, I don't, see an aspect of my personality. I watch the whole movie. Deeply entertaining. I hope you've been entertained. All right. That's it for today. Thanks, all of you. Go ahead. I mean, don't let me stop you. I made them do it, by the way, for those of you online. I forced them to do that. It would have been embarrassing otherwise. Anyway, to all of you, nice that you were here. We're going to have, as always, a great day today and lots of stuff coming up. So stay tuned. Bye for now.